Yeah. But I would like to get to more specifics on the transparency bill, because it has been reported in the past that during the 1980s that the Fed actually facilitated a $5.5 billion loan to Saddam Hussein, and he then bought weapons from our military-industrial complex, and also that is when he invested in a nuclear reactor. A lot of cash was passed through, and a lot of people suppose it was passed through the Federal Reserve when there was a provisional government after 2003 invasion. It was not, that money was not appropriated by the Congress as the Constitution says. Also, there's been reports that the cash used in the Watergate scandal came through the Federal Reserve. And when investigators back in those years tried to find out, they were always stonewalled, and we couldn't get the information. But my question is, you object to this idea that I would say, give us 6 months. After 6 months, we could find out what we're doing. But what about giving us, give you 10 years? Would you grant that the American people deserve to know whether the Federal Reserve has been involved in this and what kind of shenanigans they're involved with foreign countries and foreign central banks, and find out, possibly you're working right now to bail out Greece for all we know. But would you grant that after 10 or 15 years, the American people deserve to know? It seems like if the Fed was not involved with this, at all, it would be to your advantage to say, no, we don't do stuff like that. But why couldn't we open the books up 10 years back and find out the truth of these matters?
Well, Congressman, these specific allegations you've made, I think, are absolutely bizarre, and I have absolutely no knowledge of anything remotely like what you just described.
Hold it now, wait.
Today's hearing provides us with 12 billion reasons to be concerned about fraud, waste, and abuse. In a 13-month period from May 2003 to June 2004, the Federal Reserve sent nearly $12 billion in cash, mainly in $100 bills from the United States to Iraq. To do that, the Federal Reserve Bank in New York had to pack 281 million individual bills, including more than 107 $100 bills, onto wooden pallets to be shipped to Iraq. The cash weighed more than 363 tons and was loaded onto C-130 cargo planes to be flown into Baghdad. The numbers are so large that it doesn't seem possible that they're true. Who in their right mind would send 360 tons of cash into a war zone? But that's exactly what our government did. Stuart Bowen, the Special Inspector General for Iraq Reconstruction, analyzed the cash transfer and concluded that when the money arrived in Iraq, the Coalition Provisional Authority, which was run by our government, had not established sufficient managerial, financial, and contractual controls to ensure that the cash was used in a transparent manner. Even worse, Mr. Bowen concluded that the Coalition Provisional Authority handed over the money to the Iraqi ministries, quote, without assurance the money was properly used or accounted for. I'm releasing a memorandum this morning that describes this mind-boggling situation in more detail. And I'm pleased that Mr. Bowen and Ambassador Paul Bremer, who led the Coalition Provisional Authority, are with us today to shed more light on what happened to the $12 billion. I know Ambassador Bremer has indicated in the past that it's unrealistic to expect the government to keep close track of money sent into a war zone. And I know the Inspector General believes the opposite is true, and that strong standards are especially important if our government is sending billions of dollars of cash into a chaotic and violent environment. My concern is that without strong standards, we have no way of knowing whether the cash that was shipped into the green zone ended up in enemy hands.